It's a real regime almost.
Oh, hell no.
They're talking about me.
All I needed was one ball. The science of training.
And I know you don't think it's a sport. Good to see you, man.
Yeah, good to see you too.
So, Stan, I want to obviously talk about a very unfortunate subject with you. It felt like it was yesterday, right? You lost, one of your best friends, and obviously your training partner, almost like a family member, right? Shawn Rhoden. It's obviously a very sad news that shook, sport of bodybuilding, obviously, right? But for you, I'm sure it hit completely different for you. What can you tell me about how you heard about it, and what do you know up to date? Because it's been very little information, and I'll be honest with you. A lot of the information, what I'm hearing, I bet you is not even true. Like, it's just what you see on social media, right? And some quick article reports, but nobody really knows what happened. I don't know to this day. What can you tell me about his passing and what happened?
I mean, it was very abrupt. Yeah, it's still hard to do. Well, I'll try anyway. So the last, so Shawn passed away November 5th at night. And so November 5th, the Olympia was a few weeks earlier. So he traveled to the Olympia. And when he came back from the Olympia, he was very tired. That was kind of like the first sign. He was feeling really tired. He had, then he went to see his daughter. When he came back, he had kind of like a cold or something. He was, he had a hard time breathing. His oxygen levels were low because he was monitoring his health. He had, actually, when I left for Chicago, he was supposed to meet me and my girlfriend with his girlfriend at the time to have dinner before I leave. And as they were driving toward LA, they had to stop and go back home because he was feeling sick. At the time we thought he had COVID, but actually that was his first heart attack that he ever had.
Then that was 2020.
Yeah, 2020. And then like a few weeks later, he had a severe heart attack that led him to the hospital. But since then, he was, monitoring his health even more closely. He was doing, I think every month, every 2 months, he was doing checkups. He had some like medication he had to take. I mean, he was on top of it. But yeah, so when he came back from the Olympia, he went to see his daughter. He came back, he was feeling sick. He had a hard time breathing, headaches. Something with his head mostly. He felt something was wrong with his head. Like he thought that was going to go away. The Tuesday before he passed, we were in the gym together. He trying to train, but he was not really feeling it. Then on Wednesday, so if I'm not mistaken, he went to do a COVID test. It was negative. So he just thought, that was going to pass. And but it was in the 2018 when he prepped for the Arnold. He had an ulcer too. So we don't know if that also maybe was all the stress he was, handling, that if that maybe came back. We don't know about that. But anyway, Friday night I was having dinner. He was running some errands. He came back home because we lived together. We were sharing the same house. Yeah, this is a picture of him and his daughter.
Oh, you guys live together? I didn't even know. You guys are basically, oh, wow.
Yeah. So anyway, he got home. Then he went to drop off some cookies because he was getting all those cookies, my cookie dealer, and we had a friend who liked them, so he just went to drop some off. And as he went to drop them off, he didn't feel good, so he asked for a glass of water. He's trying to he wanted to sit down and relax, and the person brought him a glass of water, and as they gave him the water and came to check on him, he was not responding. So they, pushed him and he just collapsed, and they called 911. The ambulance came. They're trying to reanimate him. At the time, I was cold, so I rushed there. When I got there, the ambulance was taking him to the hospital. So I followed the ambulance, and then when we got to the hospital, within maybe 10 or 15 minutes, they told us we could come, and that he actually, he was actually passed. And yeah, he's it seems like his heart stopped working, but I don't think they've done an autopsy, as far as I know. I was talking with his brothers to have an update, and it doesn't seem like they've done anything. So I thought they were going to do it anyway because he was only 46, but maybe something that needed to be requested or something like that. But when we went for his funerals, November 25th, if I'm not mistaken, it was or 27th. It was there was no news about like any type of autopsy or anything else.
So there's no official cause of death. Was it heart attack that he passed away from?
I mean, that's what the doctor told us. They told us it's most likely his heart. Yeah, his heart stopped, working, and they're trying to reanimate him. They're trying to, electrocute him. They tried. I think they gave him also like injections of I think adrenaline or something. They tried a few things, but he was gone for so long that they said even if at that time he would have came back, he might have some sequels like from the lack of oxygen to his brain for so long. So they had to stop trying, and he was not responding anyway. So
Man,
yeah,
this is so sad to hear, man. Honestly, it's just such a sad thing, man.
yeah. I mean, honestly, I mean, it's only speculation, but it seems like he was just a perfect storm. Like he was doing a lot. He had like some pre-existing condition. He was traveling. He was tired, stressed. It was late at night. Usually, that's when heart attack happens. Yeah, and then he got some type of sickness that I think I got after him, and that was pretty hard, even for me who was healthy. So I can't even imagine,
What
him
kind of
having
sickness? Like COVID or what? Something else?
yeah, some type of flu. Yeah, but not COVID because he got tested. It was negative. I got tested. I was negative.
He was
Yeah.
stressed out. Was he going through like a stressful period? Not from traveling, but I mean, was he? I'm not even talking about the nothing like the kid. I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying, was he under like pressure, like in general?
I mean, he was stressed. It was a lot of things, to be honest. He, of course, this case that kept dragging, because of COVID. He was supposed to have another hearing in September, and that got postponed because he didn't have enough staff. After that, he also broke up with his his wife. That was stressful. There was a lot of events, and then just trying to, yeah, I think there was a lot on his mind. Like he was somebody that's never really was outspoken about his own issues or own like struggles. He actually, that's why I think it was really bad because he actually spoke. We talked a lot about all this stuff, those last few months. So that was definitely on his mind because normally he would just keep that all in. And that's the fact that he was speaking about all this so much that just shows, I think, to me, how much he was actually, that was on his mind. So it was definitely like a lot of stress.
Man, when I heard about the situation, it was such I don't know. It's been a pretty bad year. 2021 has been a terrible year. Like a lot of people, a lot of different people passed away in the industry, right?
Yeah.
Like George Peterson died a few weeks before that, and
Yeah.
I knew George. I saw him like literally a month before that. It was just so much crazy. Like you almost become numb to it in a way. You know what I mean? But for you, it's different because you said you live with a person. You see them every day. You best friends, right? It's a completely different.
But I still have all his belongings, his car is in front of the house, there's still a lot of stuff to be handled. And yeah, it's really weird. Like even after that, I was going to the gym and like, we would leave the house together, but he would always find a way to be late somehow. And so I used to like just sit down in the gym waiting for him. And even when he passed, I kept waiting and I just catching myself like, what am I waiting for? Like he's not showing up. Like it's not like, yeah, it's been a really tough adjustment.
Yeah. You know what I was wondering? Like, I think the biggest issue, like with Shawn, is that he couldn't compete anymore. right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm sure that added so much to his stress. How was he able to even like go to the gym and find motivation to work out? Like imagine like can you just imagine? I mean, I'm sure you can imagine like because you can compete right now if you want to, right? You can go, you can compete, but he, Mr. Olympia, but he can't even get on the stage anywhere, right? Like
Yeah.
how do you even find motivation to continue to pursue the career?
Well, I think first it was the hope. I mean, Sean is a positive person. He focuses on, the hope of a future. So he was actually training like harder than he ever had, like on the cardiac surplus. So it was exciting to see, like what he could have shown to stage. And he was really every year he had hope that the case would just fall apart or like just he got cleared and that he could be able to just step on stage. So I think that hope he was holding on, and also it's an outlet. Training is it relieves stress. It feels good. It's what we know, so that's what he knows. And being able to be in his, he's not able to be on stage, but in the gym he's still Mr. Olympia. He's still like, he's still Shawn Rhoden, Flexotron. So for him, it was kind of like his, a good place to be for him. So I think he enjoyed that part, and he was traveling a lot. He was doing a lot. He was helping everybody, posing, training, giving advice, people showing up. I mean, he's always done that, but he was doing that even more because it feels like he was missing it. Between the expos that were canceled, him not being able to travel as much and compete and all that. He was doing even more so like on the local, uh, place.
Yeah, I was thinking when the Olympia was sold to a new organizers, right? Like when the corporation that owned it before AMI, whatever, when they sold it, I was thinking that that situation is going to be fixed. You know what I mean? They're going to let him come back because like they banned him immediately. Like, you know what I mean? I know you know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about. Like they banned him immediately when that whole thing happened, and it was a
yeah, they didn't
corporation. Maybe they were trying to whatever, the ego thing. But I was thinking now that the new guys will be able to resolve that
hmm
matter. You know?
Yeah, I mean Sean was talking a lot with Dan Salomon. He was talking a lot with Jim Mannion. They were on the phone like. I mean, with Jim, they were talking every few days. I know Dan Salomon was calling him a lot. They were talking a lot. They wanted him to go back. I mean, it was just such a messy situation. Uh, at least at first, it's like I wish they let him compete and they just waited for his case to be cleared. But once they made the choice and like they protect themselves, they stuck by it and they didn't really review. I mean, maybe after the first year, they should have just maybe be like, you know what, like it's taking time. He's it's his career that's on hold, and it's not really fair. He can get those years back, and maybe you should just let him compete until like until anything new comes up. But I mean, they made the decision they made, and it's very unfortunate. Yeah.
Um, obviously you lost your best friend, right? And he was always in your corner, supporting you, your career as well, right?
Yeah.
Um, how are you gonna move on after that? You know what I'm saying? Like obviously, I know you're gonna miss that support from him. How are you holding up, man? How are you holding up mentally? And
Uh, it's not easy. um, Sorry.
honestly, man, I really feel for you, man. Like this is terrible. I honestly, I feel I feel like crying. Honestly, it's just like it's such a sad moment. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even know him like that, but
Yeah.
it's just it's I feel like when a person dies like this, it's the he's already in a better place. But it's guys like family. It's just
Uh, yeah, it's like I said to most people, are just trying to find a new normal. It's a battle every day. Uh, but like, there's nothing we can really do. I know he would like me to keep doing what I'm doing, and that's all I can really do right now. It's not quit, just keep working hard, keep improving, and uh, so yeah, just have to learn to accept it, and and keep going, not forget, and just every day going to the gym with more purpose, you know. But it's definitely a big adjustment, and it's pretty hard. Like every new date, it's like after my first he passed, and then his funerals were like weeks later, and then I did my first show without him. It was weird. Like normally he's the first guy, the first person to check on me, like like every step of the way. And then he wanted to fly with me to Toronto. Like we actually decided to do Toronto together. Like he was saying like you should do, because I was gonna go to Egypt, and he was like, no, it was better for you to stay here, improve, take your time, being in like a controlled environment, and do a show closer, and and make sure you can make some improvements. And then he was supposed to appear in Lithuania, I think, the same day, so he was not able to to attend the Toronto show. But I know he would have been the first one to check on me, like every step of the way, and call me once I got off stage, and and then the hard part was to come back home and not having him here, because I was kind of like driven, once he passed, I was like, I have this show, I have this goal, and just kind of like just put my head down and focus on that. And then like once I was on the flight back, it's kind of the reality really hit. It's what's next.
Well, the only positive thing is that he did win Olympia. His name will be always remembered, in the history of bodybuilding, obviously, and not that it's the most important thing, but his name is he solidified himself as one of the greats.
But that was important for him. That was always his dream. It was his goal to be recognized as a master of his craft, which he achieved in 2018. But yeah, now it's just it's a lot, because he's got a young 6-year-old daughter that's left behind, and the mother of his children that that's they could actually lean on him, and he used to be able to call him for advice, to contact him, just having this presence. That's just something that they don't have anymore, unfortunately. So it's like it is for me, it is for them a big adjustment, even maybe more. I mean, it is for everybody in a different way. I'm not going to say who's more and what, but losing a father at such a young age, it's definitely huge.